Francis Warren. Welcome to the show, and also welcome to Jack, stepping in for Wally today.
I am. I'm feeling the pressure already. But cheers for having me.
So, Francis,
we're going to... Wally, you look well.
Well, I actually did my hair.
You did ask how he was.
I did my hair like Wally. This is. I did my best job.
Now, Francis, we've got loads to talk about today. So much stuff, but I don't know if you've seen this show before. We're just going to throw you straight into a game, just to get you in the mood.
Go for it.
So this one is called Moses Quick Six. So we know, obviously, Moses is no stranger to a very fast knockout. So this one is a very quick game. You're on the clock. You have to give us 3 answers to each category. But you've got 6 seconds to do it. Jack, you're going to be on the buzzer.
I actually don't know my... Oh, I do have one. Okay.
You've got
great.
a buzzer.
I am ready.
Okay. So the first one, name 3 heavyweights you'd back Moses to knock out.
Hrgovic.
Perfect.
That was record. That was 2 seconds.
Name 3 things your dad does that drive you mad.
He reacts to certain information quite badly sometimes. Doesn't like being left out of the loop, but when you keep him in the loop, he gets the ump.
I like it.
2 out of 3. That was good.
Name 3 celebrities you reckon would make surprisingly good boxers.
Cristiano Ronaldo, for sure.
Got one. Name 3 things you should never say to a boxer after they've lost.
What did you have a bad camp? What happened there? And how you feeling?
You've got to spend 24 hours handcuffed to one boxer you know. So name 3 that you're definitely not going to pick.
Derek, 100%. I think. Derek, yeah, because I know him so well. That's why.
Name 3 things that you'd ban from life. What 3 things?
Traffic wardens.
I like it.
Toll roads. It's all quite traffic based. And airport queues.
Nice. Name 3 people you'd invite to your dream dinner party.
Ricky Gervais, Jimmy Carr, and better say the missus.
Oh,
Good answer. Good answer. Name 3 things you demand in your dressing room if you were fighting.
Water, ice, and a great coach.
Very good. Very sensible. Very good. Name 3 people in boxing you would never want to play poker with.
Tyson Fury, Wilder, and Mayweather.
Is that because Tyson probably winds you up?
No, I just think he's probably the best. I reckon he would just have a great poker face.
Yeah,
I think Mayweather wears those silly sunglasses. You could probably see his hands.
Yeah.
I think Tyson would be one that would be a real tricky opponent in across a poker table.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to read him. Right, the final one. Name 3 things you'll do if Moses wins a heavyweight world title.
Smile, cheer, and shout.
Good answer. No tears? Some happy tears?
Do you know what? I can get quite emotional about this.
Can you?
Yeah, I do. But you have to try and hold it in and do it. But maybe do it when they're not looking, because it's about them, isn't it? And it will be an extremely satisfying experience when he wins, not if he wins. But similarly, you know, when I was out with Sam in Saudi, that was a tough weekend. Mm-hmm. You've got to keep it together.
The highs and lows of boxing. What is interesting is you and your dad have been in the Moses Itauma business for a long time. There's a lot of things that make your dad the great Hall of Fame promoter that he is. Sport and talent is one, and he's passed that down to you as well. When was the first time you heard the name Moses Itauma?
I was managing a fight. It was at the iBox. I won't say who it was. And Al Smith gave me a call. He said, "You've got to get yourself down here quickly. Come and have a look at this. This is quite special." And I sort of knew the name, but I'd never met him before. And I went in, and I didn't expect him to be sparring, but he was sparring a British champion at the time, and he was only 14. It wasn't like a big heavy spar, but he was having to move about, and he could really move, and you could see the feet, the feints, the head, you could just see it. You know, it's like watching poetry in motion, even at that age. And just went what, and then sort of kept in touch for a bit. Did
you get on the phone to your dad, say, "Dad, I think we've got one"?
No, I left it a bit because you don't know if he's going to end up being a fighter or if he goes and does something else. You know, I think it's unfair to be putting pressure on youngsters at that age. But then I started working with Karol, so that sort of strengthened the relationship between us. I got Moses on a scholarship contract at Queensbury, I think, when he was 16. So we helped him through, the last couple of years of his amateur career when he went on and won the Worlds and the Europeans, whilst Karol was sort of getting started. And, we had really, really high hopes for Karol. Didn't quite work out for him for whatever reason, but he's a huge, huge supporter and massive part of his brother's team. So if you can't fight, stay involved and, support your family. And I think, boxing is it's a family orientated business. If you look through the history of the sport, you see the Warrens, obviously the Itaumans, the Hearns, the Sowlands. It's a real family thing that it's because it gets into you and it becomes a real thing you want to support each other with.
Yeah, and I suppose for someone like Moses, the star he's becoming, and you can attest to this, when you see a fight like him going up the ranks, suddenly there's more people on fight week wearing the team tracksuits, and you think, well, I didn't see you at the last fight. With Moses, it's his brothers, which I love. Yeah. And there is no outside intrusion. That must be a big part of it.
Well, I think you've got to be. I think if you allow history to repeat itself, then you're a bit of a fool. And I think obviously Moses is a studious guy, and he's probably been around. And he spoke to. I mean, I think there's a good quote from Moses. He spoke to Tyson, and Tyson, he said, "What advice have you got for me?" He said, "Get a good lawyer." And I think so. He has gone round and picked everybody's brains. Now, even when I got him his pro deal at Queensbury, even though he had been on a scholarship contract and was helped with his amateur career, I still picked the phone up to all the other guys and said, look, do you want to make us an offer? Because there's not only one game in town when it comes to promotion, TV, management, anything. You've got to make sure that the fit is right for you, even if it's not for the most money or if it's not the biggest exposure.
So I take it you weren't working for Queensbury at that point?
No.
Yeah, because I suppose now, is it still the same? Obviously you are part of Team Queensbury now, but you're still...
So I stepped away from Queensbury 6 months before Moses turned pro because I didn't want to have that
the conflict.
Yeah. I didn't want to, I wanted him to feel comfortable enough to ring up and go, that bunch at Queensbury are doing my head in, can you go and sort them out, please? Yeah. So then I can have that conversation as an outsider. Obviously, if Queensbury bring me up and say, right, could you go and do a day for us or go to a convention or go and represent the family? Of course I'm going to do it. But first and foremost, I'm a manager, and my clients that I work with, and the people I work for, because I've been in this now 22 years, and I work for a 21-year-old because he's the gaffer, he's the boss, he calls the shots.
Out of interest, what did your dad make of when you were shopping around? I'm sure he would have understood it was your job. But what did he make of it when you sort of shopping?
He encourages it as well.
Frank surely knows.
No,
as long as you give him a family discount.
He encourages it as well, because if you don't encourage guys to go and get a comparative deal, they may always wonder.
Yeah, I think they're missing out.
Is it any better over there?
Yeah.
And I think guys that don't go and have a chat with another promoter or another manager, apart from in Moses' case for me, because obviously there was no better option, but. I think it's important for everyone to understand the business quite quickly, and that's something I instilled in Moses quite early. Any questions, ask them. Anything you want to know about the business, you want to see not P&Ls like from a business point, from the actual show point, but how to understand a show budget. Where does the money come from? What does it do? How do you end up with your purse? And he's definitely a student of the sport and the business.
A fight week's the busiest time for you to make sure everyone gets to venues and knows exactly what's going on.
Well, no, I think the busiest time for me has been organising sparring, especially for Moses.
So is that your job?
Well, because no one wants to turn up and actually take the punches.
No. That's very, very tricky.
Okay.
And that for me is probably the busiest time until fight week. And then it's just constant, but it's rinse and repeat for me. I've been doing it for 22 years, so it's kind of, I don't really think about it. It becomes a bit of second nature. It's also interesting to see guys who are just getting into it, how they are so organised. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I think to myself, wow, you're really on this. But because it's when it's rinse and repeat, you just sort of send the info out. Whereas it's a really interesting way to watching people learn the business.
It's interesting you bring up the sparring, because we've heard some great Moses sparring stories about turning up in his school uniform and sparring world champions. Tyson Fury, Shane Fury said that Moses is one of only 2 people to ever give Tyson a good spar. Were you hearing these stories, or any ones that in particular stick out when you think of Moses when he was just a youngster?
We got a few videos sent over and shown to us, which is a bit naughty, but if they're there, you're going to watch them. You're going to watch them. And that was when he was young, like a youngster, it was 15, 16. Lawrence Okoli has been extremely vocal about how much of a tough time he gave him, and I think that's the school uniform story. Yeah,
because there's a video of Lawrence.
Sorry, I'm late. I've just had double
as like a selfie of Lawrence with Karol and Moses. Yeah. Saying these two have just blown me away. Like, watch out for them.
Yeah. I think he did a radio during COVID. I think, or pre-COVID, he did a radio interview, and he says, "Just watch out for these 2 boys, because they're something special."
And interestingly, actually,
he wasn't wrong.
No, he's not.
In COVID specifically, obviously the amateur gyms were shut. Karol said that Moses kind of got a bit frustrated with it and started going down the wrong path, and he would see him out in town hanging around with the wrong people. And he said, I think there's a story that basically he was saying to Moses he would pay him £1 for every mile he ran.
That's right.
And then he got him fit and then ran out of money, so he had to stop paying him. But again, we were talking about the impact Karol's had. To see his little brother and think, bro, you're going to waste your potential here. That must have been massive. And had you heard of that going on at the time or since?
I think that because Karol signed in the February 2020, I think, and then COVID sort of hit April, didn't it? That's about right.
March,
April, and because then we had a show scheduled at the O2 in April.
What was it?
I think so. And everyone sort of thought, it would just be like a 2-week thing.
It ended up being the last show was the Queen's one was at York Hall.
Yeah.
That was the last one.
So Karol was due to make his debut on there, and then he had to wait another 7 months through all that uncertainty whilst we were trying to get shows back on the road. And it was on the undercard of Yard Arthur, at the Royal Westminster, the military Westminster Rebels, and that's I think that was probably just an indicative time for Moses to see his brother make his debut and go, right, I'm going to get back into this now, because at 16, 17, if you have 2 years out of the gym and your gyms are closed, you can't do this. You see your brother getting not messed about by it, but not making his debut when he's supposed to have done, probably would have fallen out of love with it a bit. So I think that the efforts that Queensbury made during those times, and Matchroom and all the other guys, to keep boxing going during that time, for me, maybe kept Moses interested in the sport.
Saved
because
some
2 years off 2 years of no boxing could have been trouble for a lot of guys. Not just Moses, but a lot of guys.
I think it derailed a lot of people.
Yeah,
especially if a few people had just turned pro, maybe had the foot, and then it just totally. Yeah.
Well, it really threatened to completely kibosh amateur boxing because and in fairness to Anthony Joshua, he put a very sizable donation into England boxing because he said that saved his life and career. But amateur boxing in particular, there was a lot of guys who missed out on the ABAs that year that were then turning pro maybe a little bit earlier than they should. So it was an interesting period of time, but amateur boxing in particular.
They cancelled, was it the World Cup or Euros, didn't they?
Yeah.
So if they're going to cancel that,
and the Olympics,
it's amazing what everyone did and pulled together. I mean, going into lockdown hotel rooms and all the rest of it, it was just such ag and non-stop,
constantly getting tested with those things up your nose.
So the fact that even the guys keep going into the gym during that time, I think it's a real testament to the unity of the sport that we got through that, and look how big and brilliant it is now. Obviously this week we've said a huge week for you, also huge week for your dad. Have you spoke to him about how you're all feeling going into this week? I'm not really caught up with him too much, to be honest.
We will in a bit. We're going to get him down the line in a minute, so we can all catch up. We can all catch up together.
No. two for the price of one.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know he's immensely proud of what Moses has done, and he thinks that he's more than ready for this. If he didn't, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't have been a fight that was put forward. I think my dad's very, very good at selecting the right time, the right time for the right fight, right time. I hope that's something that I've learnt from him. That you don't have to rush guys to make them a star, and it's about nurturing talent, not exploiting it. I think that's a really important lesson that I learned from him quite quickly. Also from Dean Powell, bless him. He taught me a hell of a lot as to how to spot a guy that's ready to go, ready to be let off the leash. Because some of the guys that do, they get to a point where they can go a bit stale. You don't want to keep a potential England footballer at Stevenage Borough for his whole career. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to let them go and spread their wings, and it's the same thing with too many 6-rounders. And if you tell them they're not ready for a British title fight when they think they are, then that's maybe when a bit of friction can come in. But yeah, I know he's very, very proud of what Moses has done, and I think as a team, collective team at Queensbury, the management with Charles and Karol and the guys with Ben, and it's been a real team effort. But the shining star in all of it is always Moses, and he's definitely ready for this. Well,
your dad is on the phone now. Frank, can you hear us?
I certainly can.
A family, but did you know that each other were going to be on this show, or is this a surprise?
No, I didn't. That was news to me.
I asked Francis here earlier when the first time he heard the name Moses Itauma, he said he went down to watch him spar and was blown away. When was the first time you heard of the name Moses Itauma?
When he come back and told me. He'd seen this youngster fight, and we got a bit of footage of him and met with him, and Queensbury decided to sponsor him, and with a view when he turned professional that he would sign with us, which is what he did, and Francis would manage him, which he does.
Did you know straight away, just looking at that footage of the sparring and meeting him and understanding him, this is a future world champion?
I look at it a different way. When I look at fighters, I've got to take in consideration their age, obviously young age, and you think how many footballers, how many clubs sign young, real good quality, talented young fighters up. Boxers up, and how many of them don't make it. So you have to be a bit extra careful of what you're doing and what you're looking at. But I thought he had something really star quality about him. And what convinced me was some of the footage that I was shown of him sparring. And I'm not going to say who he was sparring with, but they were guys. A couple of the guys were ranked in the top 10. At that time, he was 16, and he was holding his own with them. So I thought, he definitely has a very strong possibility of going places in the heavyweight division, and that's how it's turned out. Is now a fight we made. What was it now? About 12 weeks ago, we've managed to get the IBF to sanction it now for the title, as Usyk vacated the title rather than have his mandatories, and this is a big moment for him. Not just the fight in the ring, but mentally, at his young, very, very young age. He's still 21. And I've said this plenty of times, you look at like AJ, for example, won a gold medal at Olympic Games, didn't turn pro till I think he was 24. This young man turned pro at 18. He never had a senior bout as an amateur, and he's done tremendously well. And going into this fight, he's had 6 rounds in over a year because of injuries. He beat Jermaine Franklin in 5 rounds, and Dillian White, he sensationally stopped him in 1. So, that is, in some ways, is not real ideal preparation, but we've got strong belief in him, and he's got strong belief in himself. And I feel on Saturday, and I hope we're going to see something special in boxing, which will become an historical moment.
I think there was a stat that I saw earlier on that He's only had 31 rounds.
Yeah, as a professional.
As a pro. So he actually will be, in terms of the amount of rounds boxed, will be the quickest ever to do it.
By a lot, because I think the nearest is Mike Tyson at 74.
74,
so
yeah.
it's a huge jump.
You've been on the same page as I.
Yeah, I've done my research. But it's incredible to think that...
Yeah.
It's because he was talking about wanting to break the record of being the youngest, but that's not even... Because I suppose it depends on how many fights you have, but the fact that he's only had that number of rounds, and now we're in the position that we're in, this weekend he could become world champion. And it's not even he's getting a shot to become world champion. A lot of people believe there is a genuine chance that he wins it, and so a lot of people saying easily wins it. That's actually unbelievable to say after seeing him for 31 rounds as a professional. 100%,
especially against someone of Filip's quality and credentials. And I think that the fact that he's such a clear favourite is listen, the promotional work that's been done with Moses has been phenomenal. But it's there from credible. It's there because he's earned it, and he's shown the skill set to deserve to be the favourite in this fight. So it's a real testament to the work he's done.
Frank, just quickly, I know you get a lot of credit, and rightly so, for matching fighters at the right time, and obviously this is a good fight, you think, for Moses. But out of interest, would you have put him in there with just about anyone in the world at this point if it was for a world title?
Well, I mean, Hrgovic, we made the fight, so that's our belief in him anyway. The fact that the IBF title has been tagged to it now is a great bonus as far as the fight's concerned. But yeah, I would have done that. I feel he has the beating of the majority of them out there. I'd be very confident. I would have the confidence to put him in with Usyk. And I know that's a bold statement, and I don't really make statements like that about my fighters. Or fighters I'm involved with. I always, especially when they're young, I take it more cautiously. But I really do believe in him. I believe he's an unbelievable, unique fighter, and I think he has the beating of nearly everybody there. And I'll tell you who agrees with me with that is Usyk himself.
Yeah, I suppose it's at no fault of his own. He's in a period now where AJ, Fury and Usyk are sort of coming towards the end of their career. I almost feel like because he is so good, they just wouldn't risk it. And in an ideal world, Usyk or the winner of AJ and Fury has a passing of the torch fight, but that is just such a hard sell for them, I think.
It is, and look, all those guys, Tyson is obviously he will be fighting Joshua in November. I think that fight's going to go on despite what's being said. Usyk has made it very clear he's not interested in it. So that and they've earned their medal. I mean, Usyk's undefeated, two-weight world champion and fourth, a unified champion. Tyson and AJ both two-time world champions. And they're all very, very wealthy and well set up. So, they don't need to tarnish their legacies in even taking that fight. And the thing is with Tyson, he would do it. But, his mind's on one fight at the moment, and that's all he's interested in. I think, I genuinely believe that, the fight, if AJ was to take on Moses, I'd put my house on him.
Just out of interest, Frank, before we go back to Moses, I know you are team Tyson and you have a business arrangement with him, but has it been nice to actually just sit back and watch all of this unfold and not have to be in the middle of it, which you've probably spent the last 10 years consumed with
the stress,
just to allow the seller and the Saudis to just deal with it and say, look, I'll support Tyson on the night, but I don't have to be in the weeds of it.
I'll be honest with you, we are in it, but the thing is, we keep our counsel. There's no point, no one's getting anywhere screaming and shouting and conducting. It's great for the press, but conducting negotiations through the press and everything is a waste of time. At the end of the day, this fight, if it goes on, and I believe it will, I believe it probably take place in America now, and it'll happen. People are going to complain, and some quite rightly, because I'd like to see it at Wembley, but I'll go back a long way. I think of the great fights involving American heavyweights when they were the best heavyweights out there, and fights that have gone down in folklore. Rumble in the jungle. In Zaire, you think of Ali Foreman, two Americans. If you was an American boxing fan, you're thinking, what are they doing going to Africa? the Thriller in Manila, and again, massive big alley fight. They had the big fight in Jamaica. Lots of fights have taken place abroad. It's nothing unusual. And these guys, at the end of the day, they're highly paid boxers, but they're in the most dangerous sport in the world. I mean, even when Joe Bugner, England's own Joe Bugner, when he fought Muhammad Ali, that was in Kuala Lumpur. So it's not unusual. None of this is unusual. No one's doing anything unusual. And I think you can even look at footballers over the years. You think about where did Beckham wind up? He didn't stay in England playing football. He went abroad, made his money abroad. Ivan Toney went to Saudi. Same with probably one of the most famous footballers in the world, in Ronaldo. They've got short careers. They go where the money is. Whether we like it or not, that's just unfortunate facts of life. And I think the Netflix angle of it all, I don't know what the exact amount, but if Netflix have got 8-9 million subscribers in the UK, in America, they've probably got 250,000-300,000 subscribers. And these are just facts of life. I know how it sounds, but that's where it's at. And people will agree or not agree. But that's just realistic, and that's what happens in sport.
Just to go back to Moses, from a promoter-manager dynamic, Francis, what are the kind of conversations that you'll end up having with your dad on fight week itself? Is it just a case of checking in, seeing how Moses is, or is it almost you stay quiet until the fight night itself?
No, just making sure that all of his needs are met, and he's not getting too overworked with the press stuff, but it's. I think the dynamic between management, promoter, trainer. I think as long as everyone's in harmony, everyone's there for the best interest of the fighter. No one's trying to do anything out of the ordinary, overwork the guys. It's just to make sure that the show gets enough exposure, but at the same time Moses gets looked after as he should do, and that's the aim of the game, is to make sure he's happy and comfortable and not too overworked and overstressed with things that aren't necessary.
I'd imagine, Frank, Moses strikes me as probably one of the easier fighters to deal with. Nothing really seems to faze him too much. Would that be a fair assessment?
It would be, and when he turned pro, he was determined to become the youngest ever heavyweight champion in the world. He had a couple of injuries, and maybe that would have happened, but it's not now. He can become the youngest British heavyweight champion and the second youngest in the world if he does it. But we're all overlooking one thing: it's Filip Hrgovic. Yeah. He's no schmuck. I mean, he is a very, very good quality fighter. He's an Olympic medalist. Now, he's only lost one fight, and he's competitive. You see that fight he had with Daniel Dubois. Those first 4 rounds, he was catching with big shots. And eventually he got stopped with a cut eye. I think Daniel would have stopped him anyway. But I know this guy believes he can become the first guy from his country to become world champion. And they all know what's at stake. You get that seat at the table, these big fights that are going to follow on. Whoever gets this belt will be looking to unify them. And it's the next level from there. And it's massive financial gains for them. And so, just do not overlook Hrgovic. He's a very confident guy and believes in himself.
Yeah, definitely the toughest test. Definitely not to be overlooked. But just before we got you on the phone, we played a little game with Francis, and one of the questions was, name 3 things that your dad does to drive you mad. So we thought, while you're down the line, we thought we'd give you the opportunity to say what 3 things drive you mad about Francis.
What drives me mad about Francis? Oh, I can't tell you that. I mean,
because there's more than 3.
No, what drives me mad about? It keeps going on shows that I'm on at the same time. we keep repeating questions. No, nothing drives. Sometimes I'm sure I do as him. We have our moments, but he's my son. I love him dearly, and he does a brilliant job.
Often we speak to fighters who are trained by their dads, and they do speak about how it can be quite hard to switch off from having your dad and having your trainer, and sometimes it gets intertwined. And is it hard to ever, switch off from father-son relationship when there's so much business to be done, or is it fairly easy?
Do you want me to go? I think the best thing that we've all learnt to, obviously George is CEO at Queensbury, so I think the best thing that we've all learnt how to do is if we get together at the weekend for some lunch and we've got my kids, dad's grandkids there, don't talk too much business, and I think that's the key to it. You have to learn how to differentiate between your family life and your business life, and I think it took a little while, but we're definitely a family first, and business a very close second.
Speak about Arsenal at the dinner table, and instead, actually, Frank, that's probably what we're in.
It's a good conversation at the moment. That's why we keep talking about it.
They were all brought up the right way. They were all brought
all credit to you. All credit to you.
All brought up the Arsenal, man. And George and Francis, they married their wives and their respective families are all Spurs fans.
Oh,
so I'd be very quick. And get him when the babies were born with the little shirts. Get that shirt on. And
all the Arsenal bibs came out quite quickly.
It would be, a good era to. Had that been sort of 15 years ago, it would have been probably more Spurs. But Frank, do you think? Are you confident it's going to be a double for Arsenal? It doesn't seem like the other teams are quite up to scratch. Do you think you're clear favourites?
No, they've hit the ground running, Arsenal, haven't they? I was pleasantly surprised with the match in Cardiff. It certainly wasn't what I was expecting. They played so well then, and I was at the Coventry game, and I thought they played extremely well within themselves, and I've been moaning, to be quite honest, before the season started, that they should be buying a centre forward and a winger. But the Greek guy, was it
Tazali? Yeah, very good.
I think he'll be the buy of the season for any club. How well he settled in his first two games. He looked brilliant.
He reminds me of, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name, the kid at PSG, Kovic.
Yes, yeah.
He looks quite a similar player to him. He's always looking for that killer ball or cut inside and shooting opportunity. So I think he's a really exciting one to watch this year.
Yeah, not good for anyone who doesn't support Arsenal. Look, Frank, we'll let you go because you've got a very, very busy week ahead. But thank you so much for coming on, and we will see you on the week of the fight.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Ali.
Thanks, Frank.
See you later.
I'll probably bump into you this week. See you in a bit.
One of the, well, don't tread on my foot.
See you later.
See you later. Lots of love.
Bye. So currently, Frank may be turning up with just one shoe on and a swollen foot. Not ideal.
But no.
But when we were talking about Fury AJ, and he was kind of making the good point, it's not good to negotiate in the open in the press, because it has the last week, I'm sure we'll come on to it, has kind of spilled out into us. Is that something you learned from him quite early?
I learned that.
Don't talk to us.
I learned that from, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying it, when Coogan did really well with the match from Queensbury beef during the Box Nation days, because he'd come to Queensbury. Eddie said this, obviously Eddie was just sort of cracking on at the time.
He's the king of it, isn't he? Yeah.
He was the wind-up merchant, and he would seem to. But then my dad would do the interview and say, "Well, we've done this," and then he'd go straight to Brentwood. So Frank's just said this about you, Eddie, and I think IFL did really good business off the back of it, and they were they were first to party in that sort of this new sort of media world that boxing sits in. That's the right word, isn't it? Yeah. Which you can tell I'm really up to date with. But yeah, so I think we learnt quite quickly that you can't conduct your business like in the way that I think it was being done. And it came to quite an abrupt end, I think, when both sides sort of just went, "Oh, that'll do." Like, come on.
Well, we're all friends now. We're all on the zone home of boxing, and
it's. But to be honest, I think there's, like we were saying earlier on about John Murray and Kevin Mitchell, when I got them in the ring and tried to get them to basically behave like WWE stars, and it just didn't work. And I've learnt very quickly, you can't force something or manufacture beef.
Yeah.
And if you do, it's so obvious now. And also, if we've all entered into this new age of a blue chip industry, which boxing has been in the past, but now definitely is back to, that you have to conduct yourself properly. You can't be throwing tables and swearing all the time, and we want to attract these big sponsors and have fantastic broadcast partners. These guys have got to conduct themselves, and we've all got to conduct ourselves and as we wish to be seen. And I think that's for me is the way that boxing has developed into this new age.
What have you made of the sort of press stuff that's been in the press about AJ Fury? It's been talked about for so long, so long, but we've seen. I almost can't keep up with it. I'm part of the press, but I almost can't keep up with the latest thing that's in the press on is it happening, where's it happening, when's it happening, what's the contract breaches, what's going on. What's that like being from your side of things in terms of like the management and away from the press?
What I don't understand is how boxing seems to be one of the only businesses in the world where you can discuss your contract in public.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I still can't get my head around that. If you went into Arsenal and asked them what Arteta's contract is, they'd take you to piss off. Like, I don't get it.
I suppose boxing is just such an open book.
It is,
so accessible, which is great.
But even in terms of the pay-per-view numbers and how many tickets you do and what was your revenue? It's like, wait a minute, that's our business. That's. So it's a very unusual sport in that or business in that respect. What do I make of it? Like I just said, I think it should just the parties that. And I'm not party to any of it, but the parties that are making decisions, it would just be great for it to be done one way or the other. I agree with what my dad said about it being abroad. If that's what these guys are getting paid to do, they're going to go get paid, and whether that's in Zaire or Timbuktu or New York or Vegas or London, it's just unfortunate. That is not unfortunate, but that's what these guys. They're prize fighters. They can't go on forever, so they've got to maximise their earning opportunity. And if people won't like it, but it's another story to it, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. Jack, I just want to ask on, because you're quite involved in the press stuff that's going on with it. You were speaking to Eddie and different promoters about it. What is the latest with what you've heard? Yeah, yes. he was involved in it. Let me tell you.
Do you know what? So, I was getting contacted last week from people not even involved in the fight, basically saying, we know what Eddie's asking for to get these revisions changed. And it was nothing to do with boxing. It was to do with snooker and darts and Ronnie O'Sullivan's academy in Riyadh. So, like any good journalist, you should go to the other side. And we spoke to Eddie, and he was quite honest in saying there are some outstanding issues surrounding payments to darts and snooker and whatnot. They are not related to the Joshua Fury contract. He said they're two separate conversations. And there was an outstanding issue that he said until that gets sorted, I'm not sure we can go forward with any amendments. But speaking to him on Saturday, he said they have now sent contract changes which would allow Joshua to fight in America. And I said to him, pretty much, if they get accepted, do you accept it and go forward? And he kind of shrugged and said, well, yeah, I guess we have to. So that was on Saturday night. He said he hadn't heard back yet, but was told he will get some correlation. You would have to have imagined there would have been some conversations, and if they agree to what Eddie and Matchroom put forward, then he will reluctantly go forward. And he did say it's not out the ordinary request. I mean, Francis, you probably know more than me, but he was basically saying we want a bigger purse.
Doesn't sound like it in a minute. You're up to speed, my friend.
He's been quite open in saying they do want a bigger purse to cover the tax deficit in New York. New York is a big tax city. A lot of UFC fighters don't want to fight there because of that. So he said we need that covered, and then just simple stuff about flights and accommodations and stuff like that. He says it's not out the ordinary or too much, whether they agree with that. But that's where we're at. He sent the revisions off and is waiting to hear back. He still says he's hoping for a UK fight, but it's seeming more and more unlikely. And that's just because of Netflix. Netflix, a lot of people say it's down to the Saudis. It's also down to Netflix as well. They're putting a lot of money into this fight. They spent a lot of money on Fury with his series, and there's a documentary coming out on Fury, there's a documentary coming out on AJ. And Netflix will be thinking, we want to maximise the viewing figures. And as Frank said, if they've got 300 million subscribers in America, they're probably going to get the most there. So that's where it's at. The contract revisions have been sent, and we are waiting to hear about whether they get accepted.
I mean, in terms of you said about flights and hotels and accommodation and that sort of stuff, I mean, that's normal.
Yeah, I think
because
that's
even
totally
if it's not a super fight, you still need to know where you're staying and how many people can fly. And
but
all
in
that
terms
stuff.
of broadcast partners and things like that, it's not. You've got to think of that design as well, where they sit in it, and if they're, it's a can of worms, isn't it? But that's why the intrigue is there, because it's such a difficult one to put together. I just hope there's a rematch and a third one and a fourth one.
It just keeps going.
I would say
I don't want to see either of these guys.
I would say just
ever stop, because I'm before anything, I'm a fan of boxing, and like everybody, I've been waiting for this fight for so long. So honestly and truthfully, just I don't care where it is, just do it. I think that should be something that should be being hammered home a bit more. Is that it's happening?
Yeah, let's just.
So can everyone just appreciate that these two guys are finally putting it all on the line, because it ain't going to be good for the loser.
No.
Whoever.
It's
so they are rolling the dice. They could both walk into the sunset right now and go, you know what, we don't need this, but they're doing it, and they're doing it to satisfy obviously a financial, income, but also to satisfy, which hopefully will give some closure on a sporting saga that's been going on for 10 years.
It certainly has. Well, away from that, obviously this fight, we spoke about Moses. On the undercard, you have another fight. Sam Noakes is in action.
My boy Sam.
Yeah, so he's back, and it's a tough fight. He's had a comeback fight. He felt on top tier. Great performance, second round stoppage. But this one is a tough fight for him. Was this a hard fight for you as a manager to make? Because there is no belt on the line, but this is a really, really hard fight. It's a tough fight. Former world champion.
It's a tough fight, and it was a fight that I thought we were going to get when Berinchyk won the world title. Top Rank exercised their option when he beat Navarrete, wasn't it? And he won the lightweight world title. Because rightly or wrongly, I sort of thought Berincyk's the one that we wanted to go after, because the division is just it's shit hot, isn't it? It's a real
division.
Been like that for the last 10 years.
So no disrespect to Dennis at all. He's also a Queensbury fighter, so it would have been an easier one to make. But Top Rank, the buggers, they exercised their option on him, and we didn't quite get it done there and then. It's a very tough fight for Sam, but Sam's engine that he showed, and I could well up thinking about that performance.
Such a good fight. I was there ringside, and it was such a good fight.
Yeah.
It was just something superhuman and super special. I don't know anyone else who would have kept going for it in that. And you could see a couple of times he just went but he caught Abdullah enough times as well to think to know he belongs on that world level.
Yeah.
He didn't. I mean, one thing he said, I said to him, "What have you learned anything about yourself?" He goes, "Well, I'm definitely not a swallow job." I'm definitely, and you can't say any, so add that to your skill set, your balls, your punch power. He was just superhuman that night, and he didn't moan about the result. He wasn't, it was just 3 rounds short of pulling off a big. It would have been an upset because Abdullah was such a big favourite.
And he's a special fighter, Abdullah Mason.
He is,
and he's gone on since as well.
I think you'd probably put him in the same bracket as Moses, and the Mayweather's coming up and all the rest of it. He's something special, and I think he'll go on and do some serious things as long as he can get as long as he gets his weight right, because I think there's a bit of fluctuation with if he's going to go up or stay where he is. So I think it's for him, Abdullah, it's about settling into his weight and not moving about too much too young. But Sam and Dennis, it is a tough fight for him, but I think it's a good match to make, because Dennis, hopefully we've caught him at a ripe old age.
And where do you go if Sam wins? I'm sure you're very, very, very confident he will. What next? Is there?
He'll be back in the mix for rematch with Abdullah. He feels like he's got a wrong to right there, and if Abdullah does move up, then he'll be in a good position for a vacant title. So, I speak to him regularly. I've got my sort of remit as to what he's asked me to do for I don't want to say the back end of his career, but he's not going to be. He's 30 next year. He's been at it for quite a while, and he's been with us, been with me since the start. So it's quite a nice journey to go from start to now. Next crack, hopefully at a world title, and just to make sure he's financially secure, make sure he's looked after, and he gets out at the right time with all his faculties intact, because he's just such a delight to be around. And I always say, if my boy grows up to be like I think he's just one of the best guys I've ever met in the world.
I've got to say though, because there's been talk about getting him on down the line for fight week, and so I said maybe not in fight week, because he is incredibly moody during fight week compared to how jolly he is the rest of the time. He's a nightmare in fight week.
In fight week, he's a little git, because He's a big lad, Sam.
Yeah, that's why I was saying
We
he's
said that
very
earlier,
strong.
didn't we?
And the weight cut
The
must be-
muscles and then no food. It must be a nightmare.
He's a big lad, Sam, and it's the only time you expect. I would say to him, "You listen, smile." He just growls at me, but it's the only time he ever growls. Because, like I said, he's got a fabulous family. His mum and dad are lovely. He's Sean. I look after
Sean. They're a
Sean
good
as
little
well.
double act, aren't they?
Oh, they're like Ant and Dec, aren't they? Like Kent, Ant and Dec. He's got great people around him, and I love him dearly.
Apparently their sparring sessions, maybe not now, but when they were younger, got really heated to the point where
I think they've had to stop
take the
sparring.
gloves off and we just have a straight up.
They argue. I mean, when they go at each other, they do not hold back. Like, if one of them's sort of out of camp and put a bit of timber on, they kill each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're a good double act, those two.
Yeah, because I'm sure I interviewed Sam once and he said we used to spar a lot, but now
Yeah,
I think it's been banned. I think Mum maybe banned them from sparring because it caused some issues.
Maybe Al as well. Maybe
Yeah,
Al Smith
probably.
and
Sam's,
Mickey.
because I think Sam's such a good, one of the rare, genuine down to like a lot of boxers like to think they're a man of the people. They're not. Sam does strike me as someone who is, and he was saying like sometimes even he was boxing full time, but out of camp he'd just go back on site. And
He was on the roof. He was on the roof 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, the week he was there.
I said to him, "What are you doing?" He goes, "You're not hammering." He goes, "No, I'm just carrying stuff about." Like, he just.
Is that because he's bored or just like?
Bit of boredom, I suppose, as well. It's a bit of a switch up just from dieting and training. And if he's got a mate who needs a hand, he'll go and give him a hand because he's that guy. He firmly believes he belongs at world level. Didn't want to take it easy. There's good domestic fights there for him. Like Alpha Barrett, John O'Carroll, all those sorts of
Joe
guys.
Cordina?
Cordina, well, we've got. Yeah,
Depends on the...
depends on what's on his circumstances. I hope so, because it's domestic fights are always the best paid. So for Sam, it's about like I said, my remit is to go and secure financial security.
It was talked about, wasn't it? Cordina Noakes.
Yeah, I think probably Joe said, "Go on, you try and beat Abdullah first, and we'll see what happens after." Which is probably a sensible thing to do. And the guys, that are sitting in and around that, just about getting to a world, mandatory shot, they're not going to take a risk on it.
Yeah. That was the talk at the time, I think, because Sam hadn't fought for a world title, and obviously Joe was coming off the back of being 2-time, and so I think if in his head he thought, well, that's a huge risk to fight Sam for not the benefit at the moment because he's not fought for world title, he's not world champion, so maybe it wasn't the right time in terms of for Joe.
I think Herrera as well, because he's the WBC interim, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Is that my pronunciation? Herrera,
I think.
Herrera.
Yeah.
We were talking about doing that fight, and Herrera said, "I'll just sit tight, thanks, till I get my shot at the full world title."
Yeah, which is
I get it.
Yeah.
I do get it, because as my dad just mentioned on the phone about the winner on Saturday, the financial implications of getting not just but getting beat.
Yeah.
You'd kick yourself if it was an unnecessary risk. So they've done all the graft to get there. So just sit tight.
Well, let's get a prediction then for the weekend. So we'll start off with Sam's fight. Prediction on how that one goes.
It's going to be tough. I think Sam's engine will ring true, and I think he'll come through. I think he'll stop him late on, sort of 7 to 9.
Okay.
But he's got to be on it for the first 5 or 6, because Dennis is he's like one of those super talented Ukrainian footwork specialists who moves their heads and keeps you thinking. So he's got to be on it. He's also obviously got to just make sure that he's over the Abdullah Mason fight. That's why he was on the top tier show, and I really appreciate the guys at the top tier for accommodating him, but it was to make sure that was shook off.
Yeah.
He's coming off the back of a win, but he's in good spirits. He's in a good camp. Al Smith and the team down there, they do a terrific job, and he works his balls off. So I think that Sam's engine and power rings through, and late on, but I think he'll late stoppage.
And what about prediction then for Moses Hrgovic? Are we going to see the full distance finally?
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I think it's a Moses stoppage early. I think it really is the first one.
Because he's only ever gone 6 rounds, so are we going to see more? Is he going to get more rounds, or do you think less?
If I'm going to put it on, and it's not putting pressure on him. But I do think it could be an early stoppage for him. I really do. I think Filip.
How early are we talking?
4 to 6. I think that Filip will start strong, as he always does, as he did against Daniel, as he did against David. But he goes missing middle rounds, and that's not something you want to do against Moses. So
not even for a second.
No. So, listen, if it goes the distance, it will stand him in good stead.
Yeah.
You know, there's no lose in this fight in terms of the outcome, as long as he doesn't lose. But you know, it was the same opinion with the Franklin fight, same opinion with the Dillian White fight. You're taking on guys that you're only going to learn off if you go later rounds. The Franklin fight, you could almost see him back off a bit, Moses, until the right opportunity came along. So he wasn't rushing his work, and I think that will be that will stand him in good stead for the weekend. But listen, Filip, he's got to stay away from Filip for the first 2-3 because he's one dangerous guy. He's a dangerous, tough guy who thinks, from the interviews, he's fighting a 21-year-old kid who hasn't been there and done it. But unfortunately, he's running into somebody who I will brand as in the same vein as your Messis, your LeBrons, your Tiger Woodses, these phenomenal talents that just come along every now and again. And
so just to, as you say that, made me think we had Billy Joe Saunders in the studio with TalkSport the other day, and I know Billy's quite divisive, but when he's talking boxing and boxing only, you know, he's a good brain. He said he hasn't seen a heavyweight like it since Ali. Now, automatically everyone goes, you're mental, you're crazy. Can you see where he's coming from?
100%. He's a potential generational great, even at 21. I don't expect him to be doing this until he's in his 30s. I think he's in and out. Will smash this to pieces for the next 10 years and go, see you later, and go and do something else extra special with whatever he does, because he's not just a fighter. He's got a good business brain. He's got good people around him. He's investing his money correctly. He's doing everything the right way. And that goes especially for his training and the team of people that are around him looking after him. And he's got the ability to execute the game plans that he rinses and repeats in the gym, and that's the difference between a good fighter and a great fighter. And on Saturday, he has the potential to become great at 21, which is very unusual. So
exciting. So you predict 2 stoppages for your guys?
I do. I'm always going to back my boys. So, you know, back my guys, and I just think that I've been very lucky to work with these guys, and I just wish them all the best, and they deserve all the praise and all the plaudits, because they're special fellas. I've got Frank Wood fighting as well. He's on the bill, so I want to say all the best to Frank Wood. He's coming along leaps and bounds. He's actually started to get some shoulders on him now, because he wasn't the biggest, but he's looking fit and strong, and his S&C coach has been phenomenal with him. But yeah, just best of luck to all the boys. So Moses, Sam, and Frank, let's do it.
As always, we're going to end the show with You've Got to Glove It. So, Francis, we gave you the game earlier, we threw you straight into it, so we'll give you a little bit of a rest. You can just help Jack. Jack, as you're here for your first time, we're going to get you to do this one.
Yeah, perfect.
So you must have seen it, so get those gloves on. Of course I've seen it,
yeah, I'm a big fan.
Want to use the ones they use on Gladiators? Massive ones.
Right, so you know the rules. As quick as you can, you've got to complete our 3 tasks below the cards. Right. Francis, I'll get you to turn over the cards. If you start with this one. And then once it's turned over, we'll get your, whatever it is, the prop. Okay, open a bottle of water. As you've seen, you can use anything to get that open, okay?
Yeah. But it has to be in my hands.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I don't know where it's been. I would have done it with my teeth.
Okay. So as quick as you can. So as soon as he's done that one, turn over the next card. We'll just keep going.
Gotcha.
3, 2, 1. Off you go.
I'm getting the wrong end of it. Hey.
Yeah, he's done it. Right, next one. Open an umbrella.
God, I can't do that with my normal hands.
That is a hard one.
Jesus.
And it's also unlucky, no?
Right.
A lot of people use their teeth.
Whip it.
Is it one of those with a button? You've had 30 seconds gone.
Is there a maximum time?
No, not really.
Just before Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, that's almost there. Don't poke yourself in the eye.
We're going to break the thing.
I don't know how it's actually meant to... Come on, Francis, help him.
Just gives it here. Right, ready? You done it, Jack?
Hey.
Yeah, there we go. Right, next one. Final card. I know we shouldn't be doing that.
Start a
roll of tape. So find the end. And,
I'd be doing that. I'd be chewing that one.
That's hard even with hands. There you go. That's where the teeth come in. You've got it.
Good work.
Well
I can do it.
done.
Yeah,
there
I
you
mean,
go.
I think the umbrella one's a bit tough. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
that one is really hard. Well
We got
done.
there in the
It's
end.
106. That's not bad.
Not bad.
That's not bad, considering that one's difficult.
Who's the champion?
Well, we do different ones for like different tasks. That we had to peel an orange for someone.
Oh, come
and
on.
I can't remember who it was. They just ended up squeezing it, and it was Darren, was it? He just squeezed it, and it was technically peeled, but just everywhere. Well done. Good work.
Stuff.
Yeah, happy with that.
Francis, thank you so much for coming in. It's
for
been
having me.
a pleasure having you in, and yeah, good luck for this week.
Thanks very much.
Try and enjoy it, and good luck for the boys on Saturday.
Thank you. I will pass on the good wishes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.